Okay, hello there. Just a little video on my little, well, not so little, my arrma kraton version 3. Wanted to show you what I've done. Basically, I've just stuck an 8S system in it. Tried a few speed runs with it before the success. But just felt things were getting a little bit hot sometimes. So basically, yeah, I don't think you can see that. That's a Hobby Wing Max 6 8S ESC, and then next to it is my Turnigy 1450 kV motor 8S as well. Complete with a little fan on it. I've rigged up, try and keep the temperatures down. Yeah, and you can also see, I don't know if you can see, I'm running a 30 tooth pinion just there, and you probably can't see, I don't know if you can see that. No, I don't think that's going to work, but basically I've got a 38 tooth spur gear on it as well. What I've done with that, rather than like what other people do when they sort of like doing big speed runs and that, people tend to get rid of the centre diff and run a spool. I didn't want to do that because I don't want this, at the end of the day I still wanted to sort of like, I want it to be a fast basher basically, do you know what I mean? So I wanted to keep the centre diff all up and running, so what I actually done, I managed to get off, I think it was Intergy, it's a 38 tooth spur, and it more or less, well it bolts up to the diff all right. The only problem I had with it is that it doesn't, the actual, the clip of the hole where your outdrive goes through on the Intergy is bigger, it's 6mm. The original arrma is, the arrma spur gear is actually got a 5mm, so it suits the outdrive. So obviously when I put the Intergy one on, there was a little bit of play. So all I've done on that actually, I might do a video on that actually, but all I basically did is I used a bit of 6mm copper pipe, and that fits inside the spur, and then that will take up the play, and it works a treat. Also, when I come to put the differential back together, when you put the spur onto the actual diff housing and try and screw it down, because also the Intergy one is a little bit skinnier, obviously when you, not even before you dog it up at all, just winding sort of the bolts up with a little bit of pressure, it locked the whole diff up, do you know what I mean, which I didn't want. So easy problem with that, no dramas. All I've done was got a bit of cornflake box, and basically when you split the two, there's a gasket in there anyway. And so all I've done, I just added an extra one, just knock one out, follow the pattern, put the holes in it, put it all together, yeah, and what that does, it shims it out, so when you bolt the spur gear back onto the differential housing, it takes up and it pulls up nicely, and it all works as it should do. So that's that for now. What I'm going to do, I'm going to stick some batteries in it, put the fan battery on it, because I'm running that separate as well. I could have run it off the back, but I've decided, you know, I'm running it off a separate lipo. And I was originally, last week I was using these sweet wheels on it. Works really well, really good road wheels, you know what I mean, belted, happy days. But what I've done, I'm going to be going back, and I'm going to put the original kraton wheels back on. What I've actually done with these as well, I went to the painstaking effort, and I don't recommend it because it's a ball ache, but I did actually boil, well I did it two ways. I boiled 2 of the tyres off, which takes about 40 minutes and a lot of burnt fingers. Did work. And the other set I actually stuck in the oven and done that sort of like, will you bake them in the oven? It's all right, I don't recommend it because my old woman weren't very happy about it and it stunk the house out. So, but yeah, if you can, belt the tyres all the way forward. So cut long story short, got the wheels off, I've taped them up, belted them, do you know what I mean? Now, because these wheels are big, I mean, you know, I don't know how good they're going to be. You know, they're not like a, sort of like a sweet belt or anything, you know, you haven't got a low profile tyre or nothing, but we'll see. So yeah, I'm going to put it together and then we'll see what happens. Okay, so got some batteries in it. What I will say, arrma's battery, especially in this kraton, I think they use it across the range anyway, centre and all that, but the old battery trays in are pretty good, man. I don't know if you can see that. I've crammed 2 pretty big 4S's in there. I've also got a little, I've got a 2S lipo on there. I'll just run my fan direct. But yeah, so cool. We're all powered up. We've got wheels on. So yeah, man. Let's just see what you know, hopefully it won't all end in pieces, but I'm just gonna, let's just wind that girl up a little bit. Yeah, right, that's a start. Okay. So, I'm actually gonna just incidentally. I've also got a little. I don't have a proper GPS speedo. I've got an old smartphone with a like a an app. But last week, because I didn't actually, the vehicle never actually. I didn't crash the vehicle when I was trying it last week, and that because of the sort of like the place I go, there was a lot of debris on the road, and it took a few sort of like. But basically, because I had it just cable tied to the spoiler, and as I said, it shot out and cracked, but it still works. That's all right. That don't matter. So I'm going to try it again later, how accurate it is, just to see what I can get out of this guy. But you can see I've got the older, got the original wheels back on, so we're just going to power up, and we'll see what don't happen. The fan works anyway. Let's just start. So I'm running pretty much stock vehicle, apart from the electrics and the gearing. Haven't done anything with the suspension yet. I mean, I'd say that out of the box, and it's pretty good for shocks. Might, you know, if I was going to do more road work with it, or like tarmac and that, probably stick heavier oil in it, maybe. Don't know. Right, let's just let me do it. Okay. Right, not that one. Kraton. Let's fire the girl up. Beautiful, beautiful. Let's say stock. Still got the original arrma servo in it. As I said, seems to be doing all right at the minute. I've actually got a 22 kilogram Savox, because I've got an arrma big rock, and I'll be talking about that later. Because the system, I've got the 8S system for the arrma big rock. But I'll do another video about that, because that's on the shelf at the minute. But as I said, out of that, I've got a 22 Savox, 22 kilograms, so 20, but depending on what spec you run it on, you can have it up to 22 kilograms. I've got a Savox servo, but I'm going to run the arrma and see what happens. I've adjusted the dual rate down on it though, because I think you can see that. Don't want to stress that servo out too much. So basically, you want your steering to stop when your servo does. You know what I mean? You don't want your steering to stop or your wheels to stop when your servo's still like stressing. You know what I mean? So I think that's what knackers them. Anyway, so that's all right. So let's now. Obviously, I ain't going to go too mad with this, because I don't want it hurting me. Get it out of the way. Let's give it a quick free test, see how this thing lights up like. Jeez, yeah, you see what I'm saying? Right, that's enough of that. Okie dokie. Right, well, as you can see, I think that's going to go all right. So what we do, get a body shell on it. I'm going to go and take it out and see what don't happen.